Hi there, welcome to this lesson today, which is Fast Track English Upper Intermediate. It's a sample lesson. It's an introduction to the Fast Track English Upper Intermediate course. It's a one-off lesson. And I'm also going to give you an overview of the whole course. Fast Track English Upper Intermediate is covering ESOL Skills for Life Level 1. So this course should help to prepare you if you are planning to do the Level 1 ESOL exam, or as something which will help to get you ready for functional skills or for GCSE. The question is, it's Fast Track English. How fast is it? Well, I would recommend that if you can do 30 minutes a day, which is the equivalent of one lesson, and you can do 4 lessons a week, then the whole upper intermediate course will take you 10 weeks. Each unit, there's 10 units, there's 1 unit a week, and each unit has got 4 lessons. Of the 10 units, these are the topics for the units. Each week we do a different unit, a different topic, and they're all of them subjects which are hopefully relevant for not only for this course, but also for life in general, for living and working in the UK. And these are the topics that we're covering in our upper intermediate course. Managing money is the first one. Then we're looking at working in the UK. A follow-on from that is getting better jobs. We're looking at starting and running a business. All aspects of running the home is Unit 5. We're looking at crime and justice in Unit 6. Unit 7 is the media, which includes social media. Then we have 2 units to cover British culture, because obviously it's such a large topic, we've split it across 2 units. And then the final unit is all about citizenship. The final lesson will help to prepare you for the Life in the UK test. And as I said, there's 4 lessons in each unit. So every week, if you're going to do 4 lessons a week, that will allow you to complete a unit. What is in a unit? Well, here's an example of a typical unit. This is the first unit, all about managing money, and these are what the lessons are in that unit. So as you can see, the first lesson is all about saving money and budgeting. Then the second lesson is smart shopping and discounts. The third one is understanding bank accounts. And the fourth one is all about avoiding debt and managing credit. So in designing the course, I tried to make it so that it is helping give practical, useful help and advice for living in the UK, as well as giving you the English that you will need for these tasks. So it's a very carefully constructed course that will allow you to cover a lot of the important things in day-to-day life if you are living and working in the UK, or if you are planning to come here. So as a quick recap, 30 minutes a day, 4 lessons a week, you will complete the whole course in 10 weeks. Of course, you can be flexible with this. If you want to study more, you're going to finish it quicker. You might want to take your time. If you're very busy, you might want to take a short break and come back to it. That's fine. And you can purchase the course as a whole course, which is the most cost-effective, cheapest way of doing it. Or you can select units and you can just purchase it unit by unit and study each one that way. Both options are available if you have a look on the ESOL Online website. But before you do that, you're here to have a look at a sample lesson. So let's do just that. This is an extra lesson. This is a bonus lesson. It's not part of the upper intermediate course. It's an extra lesson which I've created. And I've called it How to Study English When You Feel Tired After Work. I thought I would make it into a practical lesson that might be useful for you. Just giving you a few tips and advice, but mainly to give you a sense of what the structure of these lessons is all about. Okay. So each lesson in the Fast Track English course follows a similar format and a similar structure. They're not absolutely identical, but we aim to cover all the key skills in each lesson. So we'll start with a warm-up, which is usually a picture labeling activity as a way of introducing the topic. Then I'll give you a vocabulary quiz. This is going to be a chance for us to start introducing the vocab that you will be using through the rest of the lesson. There's always a grammar in context lesson, so and one aspect of English grammar in each lesson, and that's tied in with the content of the lesson we're studying, the topic. I'll give you a reading text, which you can then answer some questions on. I'll also read out a listening text. So I'll give you a story or a text which is about the topic that we're studying and some questions to answer on that one. And I give you a writing task. So you can then practically use all of the English that we've had in the lesson. And we end off with a recap quiz to check your learning. Okay. So here's your warm-up for this lesson. 6 pictures. You need to label the pictures. The labels are there on the right. And how we work these lessons is what I'll do is I'll give you an activity such as this one, and then I'll ask you to pause the video for as long as you need whilst you complete the task. This one I think is quite a straightforward task. It shouldn't take you long. But that's the routine. Pause the video, start it up again when you're ready, and then we look at the answers together. Okay, first picture, top left, studying on the bus. If you're busy working, then it may be that certainly going to work in the morning, you may want to use that time in a practical way, and studying is always a good way to do that. Next one, micro study moments. This lady's here on her phone with a clock next to her. The idea of micro studying, it means small, short moments of study rather than studying in a long sustained time. If you're very busy and you're tired after work, you probably don't want to study for long periods of time. Maybe 30 minutes is the max. It may be you just want to do 5 or 10 minutes, but rather than doing nothing, we recommend micro study. If you go on the Daily ESOL site, I've got 1 minute English lessons on there, which are micro study lessons, short bursts of study. The next picture, passive learning. This man is busy on his treadmill, on his exercise bike, but he's also studying. He's got his headphones on, so he's doing a bit of listening. So he's not actively studying and nothing else. He's passively studying. Exhausted is what you're going to be if you try and study too much. Active learning. So we talked about passive learning. Active learning is, of course, when you're actively learning, you're engaged in the learning, you're not doing anything else. It might be that you want to study by focusing just on that English and nothing else for an intense period of time, or you may want to do the more passive. Those are the different sort of study approaches. And then finally, low energy tasks. Watch a movie with the subtitles. It's not forcing you to have to study in a heavy, intensive way. It's a very chilled, relaxed way of studying. Low energy. And these are the sort of vocabulary that we'll be using. So looking at vocab, some of it we've carried across into this one. Each lesson, we do a vocabulary activity. Many of them will be a similar kind of thing to this one, where we will give you the definitions and we'll ask you to match the correct vocabulary to the definition. So that's exactly what I'll ask you to do here. This is based on the topic that we're studying today. Have a look at the words on the left. The definitions are down the right. You need to match the right one to the right definition. Pause the video for as long as you need and then start it again when you're ready. Okay, drained. What does this word mean? Drained. We're using it as an adjective. It means completely exhausted. So it's even more than exhausted. Not only are you very, very tired, we would say you are drained, as though all of the energy has gone out of your body. Low energy task we mentioned in the last, in the warm-up activity. This is a task that doesn't need much mental effort. The example we gave was watching a movie with the subtitles. Recharge, as you would do with your phone, to rest and get energy again. You're going to recharge. Brain fog, feeling unable to think clearly. So if you think about when the weather is foggy and the visibility is very poor, we use this expression if we're talking about when your mind is in that kind of state of being unclear. We refer to a brain fog. Micro study again we had in the warm-up. This one is a short study activity that takes only a few minutes. And active versus passive learning we talked about. This one is learning that needs full focus as opposed to learning done whilst doing something else. So these are the sort of vocabulary phrases that you're going to encounter through this lesson. I did promise that we would do a grammar in each lesson, and this one we're looking at participle clauses. So this is sometimes called the ing form. We use participle clauses to show the reason for an action. They make sentences shorter and more natural. What do I mean? For example, feeling tired, she listened to a podcast. Because she was tired, she listened to a podcast. Having finished work late, he only studied for 10 minutes. In other words, because he finished work late. So the participle clause, the part of the sentence that is using the ing, is just used in a sentence like this, a compound sentence or complex sentence, which is going to be using the participle clause in the first part. We use them when the subject is the same in both actions. So in the first one, feeling tired, she listened to a podcast. She is the same person who is feeling tired. And in the second one, he only studied for 10 minutes. It's he. He is finished work late. So the same subject is used in both parts of the sentence. Okay. So have a look at the examples on the right. It says rewrite using a participle clause. So you can see that the participle clause is taking the verb and the ing. We're not repeating the subject. We're just using the verb. Have a look at these three examples and pause the video for as long as you need. Rewrite them using a participle clause. Okay. First one, because he was hungry, he ate before studying. So we need to change this because he was studying into a participle clause. Feeling hungry. Because he was hungry, feeling hungry, he ate before studying. You could have said being hungry. Second one, because she had left work late, she only studied for 15 minutes. Because she had left work, so we're going to take had and we're going to make it into the participle with ing. Having left work late, she studied for 15 minutes. And the third one, because they felt exhausted, they watched an English video instead of reading. Because they felt exhausted, so we have this verb felt, putting it into the ing. Feeling exhausted, they watched an English video. Okay. Moving on, reading now. How Marta studies English after a long day. So the reading activity that we have in each lesson is where a lot of the vocabulary and the ideas from the topic will appear. So it's a very good practical piece of writing that will, in many cases, sum up the main ideas of the topic. Okay, so here's a text for you to have a look at. I'm going to give you some questions on this. You can pause the video now, or you can wait for the next screen if you like. But certainly you need to pause it for some time, have a good read, take your time with it, and then have a look at the questions. And here they are. So pause the video, answer the questions. You can write them down if you've got a notebook. And then when you're ready, we'll have a look at them together. Okay, so you'll see that a lot of the vocabulary that we've already introduced is now appearing in this reading, but used in context. Question 1, it says, why does Marta choose low energy tasks? Because she's tired after work. It's in the first paragraph. Second one, how does she remember the new phrase she learns? She writes it in her phone. So end of the first paragraph, it says she always learns one new phrase and writes it in her phone. Third question, how often does she study each day? 2 short sessions after dinner and before bed. This is in the second paragraph. It says she studies 5 minutes after dinner and 5 minutes before bed, these micro study moments. And what helps her avoid feeling guilty? Having a simple routine. It says in the bottom of the second paragraph, having a simple routine, she never feels guilty about being tired. Okay. So moving on now, we're going to do a listening task. I'm going to read out a story which is called Benny's Study Plan. And whilst I'm reading it, if you want to have a look at these questions, see how many of you can answer, hopefully all of them, and then we'll have a look at them together. So Benny's study plan. Benny works as a care assistant. Some days he comes home completely exhausted. Feeling worn out, he knows he can't do heavy grammar work, so he chooses passive learning. He listens to English audio while cooking, cleaning, or getting ready for bed. When he feels fresher, usually at weekends, he switches to active learning, grammar, writing, or speaking practice. Benny says the secret is matching his study to his energy. When he has more energy, he studies harder. When he has less, he listens instead. He likes this system because he learns something every day. He also enjoys the short fast track English lessons because he can finish them even after a long shift. Okay, I'll read it again. Benny works as a care assistant. Some days he comes home completely exhausted. Feeling worn out, he knows he can't do heavy grammar work, so he chooses passive learning. He listens to English audio while cooking, cleaning, or getting ready for bed. When he feels fresher, usually at the weekends, he switches to active learning, grammar, writing, or speaking practice. Benny says the secret is matching his study to his energy. When he has more energy, he studies harder. When he has less, he listens instead. He likes this system because he learns something every day. He also enjoys short, fast-track English lessons because he can finish them even after a long shift. Okay. Why doesn't Benny do grammar exercises on work nights? Because he's too exhausted. What does he do instead? He listens to English audio while doing other tasks. When does he do active learning? At the weekends when he feels fresher. And why does he like fast track English? Because the lessons are short and easy to complete on tired days. That's good. Glad he enjoys them. Okay, so that's the bulk of the lesson. Each lesson we will do a recap quiz. We'll ask you 3 questions to check your learning, see what you can remember. First one says, which sentence uses a participle clause? Remember this one from the grammar task we did? She studies after work because she was tired. She studied. Feeling tired. There we go. The participle clause with the ing. Feeling tired. She studied for a few minutes. Question 2. Remember this one from the vocab? What is brain fog? And the answer is feeling unable to think clearly. Your brain is all foggy. And the third one, what is passive learning? Remember, we had active learning, we had passive learning. Learning while doing another activity, studying actively for long periods, or learning only grammar. It's A, while doing another activity. And finally, we finish each lesson with a writing task, something for you to take away. using hopefully the English that you've acquired from this lesson. This time it's quite a short one. It says just to write 4 or 5 sentences about your own low energy English study routine, including at least one participle clause. Example using the participle clause is feeling exhausted after work. I listen to English news on my bus home. So have a go at that. And when you do your writing, make sure you save it, put it preferably on a Google or Word document, because if you have a tutorial, which is what we recommend, then you can share it on screen and get your teacher to check your work for you. And speaking of tutorials, at the beginning of this video, I was explaining the layout of the lessons and the course and saying how we recommend you should do 4 lessons a week, which is a unit. Well, there's 5 days or working days in the week, so that leaves a day where the perfect thing to do would be to book a tutorial. So if you do your 4 lessons and then complete a unit, take a live one-to-one tutorial with a teacher, it's a chance for you to practice your speaking. You can do role play situations. You can get the written work checked that we just set in the previous one. And you can ask any questions on the topic. Anything at all to just check your learning. That is the perfect chance. It's a one-to-one with you and a proper teacher. And it's a chance for you to be able to complete the unit before you move along to the next one. It's not included in the cost. You have to pay a little extra, which is why it's an optional one, but it's not too expensive, and you can choose between 25 minutes or 50 minutes, depending which one you prefer. So have a look on the ESOL Online website for more information. Indeed, have a look at that one for all information about booking your course. That's the end of the lesson today. Thank you very much for taking part. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was useful. Nice little taster. It's just a sample lesson. So it's really kind of walking you through how these lessons work. As you can see, we cram a lot in. That's why it's fast track English, but you do get the chance to study at your own pace and whenever you like. Hopefully see you next time. If you do want to go ahead and book, you can book individual units, or you can book, the most cost-effective way is to book the course, the whole course in one. If you have a look on the ESOL Online website, all the information is there for you. It's esol-online.com. Hope that I'll be seeing you again soon, and I hope it was useful. And see you soon, and good luck with your English learning.